You. Good, how are you? Good.
So Karen's microphone is like fairly soft, so I may have to strain a little bit.
When Bridget talks, we'll just keep saying yes.
All right.
Good to go.
I'll call to order this meeting of the Southeast Polk Community School District Board of Education at 5:30 p.m. on 6/3/2025. Karen, roll call, please.
Bridget,
Here.
Chad,
Here.
Kelly,
Here.
Rick,
Here.
Brett,
Here.
Whitney,
Here.
Lori.
Okay, it looks like we have a quorum. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Rick and Brett. Karen?
Chad,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Brett.
Yeah.
Whitney,
Yes.
Bridget.
Yes. All right, everyone, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the
flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I have a volunteer to read the district vision and mission.
I will.
Thanks, Rick.
Southeast Polk will learn, lead, and live. Success for college, career, and civic life. Engage all students in learning a challenging curriculum delivered through quality instruction.
Thank you. We're on to the public comments section. First, we would like to recognize the Southeast Polk wrestlers who are in attendance tonight, and I'll ask whoever is representing you wants to speak for the good a coach. You're on.
Ain't really playing much. One, thank you guys for all the support, obviously, over the of the school year and the wrestling year. So we had a really good season. We won state duels by a pretty dominant fashion, and then we won traditional state as well. We won every duel and tournament throughout the year. We actually broke the point record at the traditional state tournament. We scored 259.5 points. Which the previous record was 225, so broke it by quite a bit. So overall, it was an awesome year. We had 4 state champs, 10 place winners, and 14 state qualifiers. So it was an awesome year. We did a bunch of things we've never done as Southeast Polk Wrestling in the past. So I don't know. Other than it was just an amazing, awesome year. There's really nothing else to say. So thank you guys again.
Coach, you're being modest because what you guys did.
I try to be modest a lot. So
Can you say just casually breaking the state record in points? I mean, you guys blew away to everybody in both the individual and team competition. I think this is truly the best of the best.
yeah, I mean, I think it's the best team we've ever had. So
Yes.
we're super blessed, and it was an awesome year.
A lot of great teams
Oh yeah.
to be the best. Feel like we should be getting some autographs.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
No, you're the best.
Good. Well, congratulations. We'd love to get a photo with you if you'd want to stand up here.
Stand up here in front.
Would it be in there too?
Can you see me?
Okay. I think I can see everyone. Are we ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna smile. 1, 2, 3. And one last one. Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Thank you. Congrats.
Okay, I don't have any cards submitted for public comment, but if we have anybody join us who'd like to make a public comment, doesn't look like it. All right, we will move on to the consent agenda portion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you, Chad and Whitney, for the first and second. Do we have any questions? Anything anyone pull out to discuss? Okay, great. Karen?
Kelly,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Brett,
Yeah.
Whitney,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, on to new and old business. Object A is, item A is classified staffing plan.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you, Chad and Kelly. And any questions or?
That was quite a moonwalk.
Do you have anything you wanted to share?
And you can come on up.
Nothing really to share other than this was the thing that came forward for communication a couple weeks ago, and we're just asking for your approval tonight. And if you see on the document that's attached, the 10-month is highlighted in yellow because that's a change from the original that came forward. That's it.
Questions?
It's good.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Karen?
Rick,
Yes.
Brett.
Yeah.
Whitney,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
All right, item B, to set a budget for the public hearing. Need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion in the second, and the recommendation is from March 27th.
So we need to state the date in the,
Oh, in the motion?
yeah,
Oh,
March 27th, motion to set the date for March 27th, 2026. Oh, yeah, because we're not in the, it can be though.
okay. So that's still
Yeah.
Brett and Rick, you were the second.
Yep.
Okay, any discussion? No, okay, Karen?
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Chad,
yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Okay, well, that's all of our items for a vote. Now we're on to topics for discussion. And the first one is budget discussion part 3. Take it away, Kevin.
Thank you, President Ernst. Mr. Morris. This is the third of 3. In our last discussion regarding public hearing A. As you see, I did place public hearing A, so it's a little bit more readable for you at your place settings. This information there will be part of the tax published notice that will go out to all citizens across Southeast Polk, shared with the city's taxes within that notice as well. So on with the part 3 of the budget discussion. Maybe. Mouse? Maybe? Oh, this one. As of this afternoon, we still don't know what SSA is. So if I can get this thing to move, oh, I'm scrolling, sorry. No decision has been made yet. Just to reiterate that the House has, oh, I think I'm missing some pages in between, Dave. I'll make do, no problem. No decision yet has been made. House proposed a 2.25 with the plus money. That is additional money in regards to the $10 in equity for cost per student, additional transportation dollars, and also one-time funding. The Senate set at 2%. You might hear it described as a 3.93% increase in state aid, and I'll go through that with you and what that looks like. The 3.93% mathematically is correct, but let me go through some of the components of this. Within that Senate proposed 2%, there's regular district program cost increase of 1.36% when it comes to that 2%. You see the dollars there. Because of the 2% and because of decreasing enrollment across the state of Iowa in certain school districts, there's a piece called budget guarantee. We pass a statement with the board with budget guarantee every year. It requires the Department of Management to give us a 101% of our previous year's budget if we have declining enrollment. At 2% SSA, there are many school districts that have to go through this budget guarantee. So because of such, there is about $9.5 million put towards those school districts to get up to the 101% of budget guarantee. And about $49 million of that is included with TSS money or teacher salary supplement money. That teacher salary supplement money is also the money that makes school districts that don't have teachers after 12 years hit that minimum mark. We already have that with our teachers. So a lot of that money outside of our regular TSS allocation isn't going to be used or can't be used by Southeast Polk because we already have teachers at that minimum mark for 12-year teachers. So the money that you see there is spread across the state of Iowa, of which Southeast Polk doesn't share in the getting teachers to the minimum levels.
So we just get the 1.36%.
We just get our regular 2% essentially with TSS, yes. What else is there? The AEA statewide reduction, the state's been reducing the AEA budgets for many, many years. The 3.93% assumes that the $25 million reduction will not happen next year. It's going to happen more than likely. So that's another piece of it. And also property tax replacement dollars. So when you look at the 3.93% as defined by some of the legislators, it really is a play with those numbers. We know that, again, the AEA is a reduction that something is probable, and those restrictions on TSS funds is something that is not advantageous for Southeast Polk. Just some of the things we're still waiting on, collective bargaining. Some of the meetings that we have with collective bargaining are waiting for SSA to be established. So we have something to kind of gear our heads for. We have medical and dental premium increases that have not been fully accomplished yet. We will see claims through the end of February, and we'll meet with insurance committee, I believe, end of March or early April to kind of finalize what those increases might be. Just to go back to our budget authority and funding, where we're at with authority, our new authority, and what we have planned for spending next year thus far. Again, our authority levels for this year with our spending puts us about a little over $1 million in the hole from a budget perspective. Breaking that down from a tax rate perspective, the tax rate we will manage the tax rate to be the same as it was this year. If there are plays within the SSA, let's say, for example, 2% SSA comes out rather than what we established in the public hearing as 3%, we'll manage those funds. We'll put the dollars where they need to be, but we cannot. Public hearing A gives us a maximum dollars of property taxes of which we want to maximize as much as we can. We can always go down. We can never go back up once we publish that. Again, what you see in front of you with the tax notice is a 3% SSA. We are keeping the tax rate at 15.44. The flexibilities that we have within managing that tax rate will have the same exercise as we've done in the past. That is kind of within the slides, the same thing you have at your place settings. This is the published tax notice. You will see, if you can't see the settings at your desk, the first column is what we had for tax rates this current year, along with the property tax dollars. The middle column says that if we had the same dollar amounts achieved for next year, our tax rates should have gone down based on this. It doesn't happen. Just because things like PEPAL is a stated tax rate, we get more money as valuations go up. And then the final column, FY 26, shows us the valuations and dollars achieved with the tax rate we're proposing, which is the current year tax rate at the New Year's valuation. Again, the timeline for the budget, as you see there, we plan to have the public hearing March 27th as a separate meeting preceding our normal meeting here. And then on April 10th, we'll have the public hearing B, which is our normal budget timeline for the 25-26 school year, and adopt the budget at that time. I don't foresee any surprises that will come through legislation late, but if we do, we'll have to adjust to that and plan for that. Any questions? Great. I would anticipate that when our citizens receive the tax notice, that we might have some more company with us next board meeting. And now you have some of the knowledge and the paperwork to kind of help me explain that to them as well. Thank you.
All right. Okay, item B, communications update. That is Jeannie. You're up. Hold on. There we go.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Buckle up. I am going to take you on a quick tour of our brand new district website that was just launched on Monday. So I'm going to try to walk or talk and drive at the same time. We'll see how well this all works, because I want to show you a variety of things as I'm telling you how we came around to creating this new website. So our previous website was developed in 2015, 2016. And in the technology world, that is basically obsolete. Every time I was trying to make improvements to our website, I was told that our code was so old that it couldn't even do it, or if it did, it would cost a lot of money. So it was time for an update. So we researched many different web developer options and decided to go with a local web developer called WebSpec out of Urbandale. Now, also ensuring that we are ADA compliant is very important. And so WebSpec actually developed the website for the Iowa School for the Deaf and the Iowa Education Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired. They are experts in ADA compliance. Now, the cool thing is that when we picked WebSpec, we didn't know this, but the graphic artist that was chosen to be in part of our project is actually one of our own Southeast Polk grads. So it's 2017 Southeast Polk grad. Andrea, she was Andrea Walker when she was here, and now she's Andrea Bigelow. So you will be hearing more about that, because that's a pretty cool success story, that our graduate is the one who has done all the graphic art for our new website. Now, we have done a ton of research on what we wanted to have this website achieve and how we wanted to achieve it. A lot of it is that we wanted it to be more user-friendly and inviting. We wanted it to be clean and classic, and to also have lots of photos of our students and our staff. This is a tool that we can use to attract families and potential staff, highlighting all of the things that we have to offer. So real quick, here's just like, again, your page on the website that then takes us directly to Assembly. with all of the policies, the minutes, agendas. Easy. All right. Now, also, I used a lot of internal subject matter experts to help us to achieve what we wanted to achieve. Also, I formed a website committee that included a lot of people, including our administration, our school board president, teachers, classified staff, parents, non-parents, techie people, non-techie people. We wanted to get a lot of variety to have eyes looking at this and provide us with some really valuable feedback throughout the entire development process. Our research also included reviewing the Google Analytics for our previous website. And so we were able to see which pages and applications were most commonly used or viewed. We also know that there were some pages that we wanted to have viewed, but they were actually kind of buried underneath. You had to know where to go to try to find them. So we wanted to fix that as well. So I want to bring to your attention here across the top, these gray icons are quick links. These are the applications and pages that were most commonly used by our students, our families, and our employees. And also, now we want to make it easy for potential employees to find the positions that we have open. But so as you can see, we've got everything from our campus portal to the RAM Mall, to our menus, calendars. These will help make it easier for everyone to find things that they use a lot on our other website. Also, we are continuing so that we can serve as many families as possible. We have a translate button. And so by translating this, it will take the entire website and put it into our students' home language. We'll continue to add more languages as we have more families that join our district. Now, moving across here to the top yellow nav bar, you'll notice that we've kind of moved away from having the parents and the students and the community, and that is because a lot of those seem to overlap. So now what we've done is we have created a place where all of those resources are available, whether you're a parent or a student. Oh. So here are a place where there's a lot of the common links and documents that you would be looking for before, but you didn't know, was it under a parent? Was it under the student? Where would I find it? It's here. Now, another page that we want to make very easy for our families to find, and that's the ability to enroll. And so here we have right there in the yellow nav bar is the ability to go and enroll, because we want people to choose Southeast Polk. Now, we have, as a society, become some people that like to scroll. That's what we're used to doing. We scroll on our phones. And that is sort of the direction that a lot of websites are going these days. However, we're doing some testing to try to see if there are ways that we can serve, again, all of our users of the website. I personally don't like to scroll. So I want to have it so that I can find things easily on the page without having to click and have things buried. So you'll see here, like for instance, we have different tabs and we have toggles that help organize all of our information. Now, down here in the bottom, you can see also there's a little blue arrow. Anytime you're scrolling, that will take you right back up to the top. One of the other things that we're working on is, that we're kind of testing out is, if you go to our food and nutrition page, you're going to see there's a lot of information there. And so watch the quick links over here. It's called a sticky quick links. And so you see how it scrolls with me as I scroll down the page. So I can be scrolling, trying to find what it is that I'm looking for. If I don't find it, I can just click on it. It's right there with me and it takes me exactly where I want to go. Again, click this little button and it takes you back up to the top. So there were a couple of pain points that we had with our previous website. And those were the staff directory, keeping it accurate and timely, and our calendars. Specifically, the activities calendar. So we spent some extra time and got some, they're called widgets, to help. And we're hoping that this will now make it so that all of these things will be a lot more accurate and timely. Now, one of the things that we've done too is that you'll notice that you can find, let's just say the calendar, you can find things in multiple places. So if you want to, you can go here and this takes you to the calendars. And this is whether it's going to the academic calendar or if you're going to the activities calendar or if you're looking for next year's calendar. You can also find the calendar on our main page. And so again, I don't know if you noticed as I was scrolling down, we have our announcements and then we have our calendar right there. You can also find it when you go to our activities page and it's on the activities page. So what we try to do is have that it's no matter how you think to process to get to things, then you can get there, but they all go back to the same location so that then we have a consistent message going through. So I know that change is hard, right? Everybody's used to their website. I know exactly where to go. I knew where to click. I knew how to get there. So I wanted to encourage you to then go. I have created just a little quick, it's right here. And it's also right here. It's just some tips on how to use the website. And so then you can see again, the difference between if you're on your mobile or if you're on your laptop, if you're looking for resources or you're looking for services, what does that mean? And this can help hopefully get through until we're all loving the new website. Now, this has been a huge project and I want to send out a thank you to everyone who has been helping to contribute and support this. Dr. Halupnik, the website committee, our tech department, everyone. It has been truly a village that has helped to pull this thing all together. But we're not done. But wait, there's more. So first of all, whenever, this is just phase one. And whenever you roll out a large digital project, there's always going to be some fine tuning that needs to be done. So we know that we'll continue to work through bugs that we find. But we also want to make our activities page much more robust so that we can celebrate truly our award-winning teams and organizations. So we're going to do some more. That'll be phase two. So stay tuned. There's more. Anybody have any questions?
No, I will tell you, I actually love this because usually when I go on the website, I'm looking for the RAM-all to add meal payments or the academic calendars to the way it's just, boom, you saved me a lot of times. So I don't know that there will be a lot of resistance to it. It seems a lot more convenient, a lot more accessible. So it's great.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's the goal. All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jamie. Okay, item C, EL update.
Well, good evening, board. And as Jeannie mentioned, seeing the variety of languages in which to translate the website. One of our fastest growing populations at Southeast Polk are our English learners. And we are very welcoming and look forward to the opportunity that they have to extend and enrich our district. And so tonight we have Stephanie Laird, our Learning and Supports Coordinator, who will provide you more information on the population, the numbers, et cetera, and how that's grown. And as well, she heads our task force for emergent bilinguals. So she will be giving you some updates in regards to that as well. So I will turn it over to Dr. Laird.
Good evening, board. Excited to share information about our emergent bilinguals with you. So the number has continued to grow. The number that I have on the page was 466. And this morning I added 4 more to Infinite Campus. So it's actually higher than that, but these are all based on last Friday. So within our ESOL program, and ESOL is English for Speakers of Other Languages, we really work on 4 language domains. So speaking, listening, reading, and writing, and making sure not only that they have access to poor instruction at their grade level, but that we're working on adding English as an additional language for them. And so we really work, we have an amazing team of teachers and some program associates as well that support this work. So as you can see through the enrollment, even since I started in this position 4 years ago, we're up 200 students. And so all of that's count days. Those are October numbers that you see in that bar graph. And then, oh, it's on the wrong one, sorry. There we go, on the bar graph. And we're continuing to see emergent bilinguals join our district, which is adding to the cultural and linguistic diversity that we have here. Overall, so when students are identified, it's through the home language survey that they complete, all families complete as part of online registration the first time that a student enrolls in the state. And if a language other than English is listed on that home language survey, we give them, we as in our team of teachers, give the ELPA 21, so the English Language Proficiency Assessment, and it's reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And if students are not proficient, based on that assessment, they are identified as an English learner. Is what the state calls them. I like to say emergent bilinguals to take Dr. Luis Cruz's work because it's more asset-based. So they're either emerging or progressing depending on where they are on that assessment. And right now we have 128 students who are in the emerging part of their language development. And then the rest of 336 are progressing. And we like to see them, and this is also part of the school performance profile, the progress of the growth of their English language proficiency. So we want to see them moving from a 1 to a 2, 2 to 3, and once they get to 4s and 5s, they're exited. And so once a year, and right now is our testing season, if you will, when students who have been identified as English learners are taking ELPA, the English Language Proficiency Test. And when we get those scores back, if they have demonstrated proficiency in all 4 language domains, they are exited. And so then we monitor them for 2 years. So last year we had 51 students exit the program. So they're in year 1 of monitoring. 2 years ago, we had 48 students exit. So they're in year 2. We're only required to do 2 years of monitoring for them. And as I mentioned, we have a phenomenal team. We have 12 teachers currently that are in the schools helping with that. We have 2 program associates that speak Spanish, and we have them in Clay and at the junior high. Learning sports coordinator, I get to collaborate with the team, and I have also been covering Mitchellville this year, just because numbers, the way that it is. And so I've gotten to be in the classrooms and working with our emergent bilinguals. And we, like I said earlier, we want to make sure they have access to core instruction. And so sometimes those scaffolds look different for our students, but we don't want to pull them out all the time, or they'll really never be able to engage with peers in language conversations and hear those language models. So we'd like to keep them in the classroom, and then we pull out when we need to. An exciting support that we've had over the past couple of years through Meta is we've gotten a couple grants where we have iPads in each building. Multiple elementaries, there's at least 3. Secondary buildings, there's at least 6 that we got last year, that using the Google Translate app, pretty slick, with a camera, you can hover it over any piece of text, whether it's a book, a worksheet, anything, and through the camera with Google Translate, it will automatically translate what they're seeing. So then they're again able to have that translanguaging happen where they're able to connect what they're seeing in the English text with their home language if it's available on Google. I've known for a few weeks but couldn't say anything, but today officially got announced by Meta that we got an additional grant this year where we're going to be adding tour headphone sets. So if you've ever gone to like Graceland or another place where you've had a headset on and then you walk around, it's similar to that where we have 6 sets that we're going to be purchasing. So everybody will have their own headsets on, and then we'll have interpreters that will have the main microphone. So if you are Spanish speaking, for example, you would have headphones that are connected to the Spanish speaker's microphone. Then if you are at a parent meeting, a PTA meeting, preschool has their family engagement sessions, instead of having one interpreter next to every single family, which can be a little distracting for the presenter and the families, it'll be the Spanish speaking presenter could be in the back talking into the microphone, and then only the families that have cued and connected to that microphone would hear Spanish. We could do the same with Vietnamese, Swahili, Arabic, however many languages we need. So we got that grant. And then another part of the grant is going to be interpretation hubs, where it's tech's going to love it. They're not connected to any apps or anything, but it's a standalone device that we'll be able to put in each front office as well as the district office. And it will in real time translate. There's headphones they can wear, and it has a little screen, but it's not needing to be connected to any specific app or website. So then we don't have to worry about any tech audits and things, because there's other options out there, but with our kind of tech audits, they weren't meeting the standards we needed, whereas this one does. And so we're excited that we got the announcement finally public that we got that grant from Meta, and then we received the funds. So Brittany Coons is actually already this afternoon was helping start to purchase things. So very excited about our community partners that we have as well. And as I mentioned, I have a phenomenal team that I get to work with, but they're not just in the ESOL program. And so our task force, recognizing that this is a growing population of students, we want to make sure that they are able to access core instruction. So we, after having Dr. Elise Cruz here last year, really jumped on task forces as an option for kind of teacher leaders and building capacity at the building level. And so we have one for emergent bilinguals that I have the opportunity to get to facilitate. I have a phenomenal group of teacher leaders that are represented. We have elementary, middle school, and secondary, junior high and high school buildings represented. And we're really looking at that access, the language-rich environments, the instructional support, and again, the academic success, because we want students to be able to thrive within our classrooms. So this year, year 1, we've really spent time as a task force team engaging in our own professional learning, because you got to have that foundation before you can peer coach and provide information. So we've spent time, we have a book study going on. We've had a lot of collaborative conversations. There's some videos, the 7 hip pocket tools, for example, is one that they've really looked into and worked on, and then making sure that we're using comprehensible input, which basically just means you have some visuals, you have gestures you're using to connect the words in English to any cognates or that whatever the student's home or heritage language is. We've also had the opportunity, we've met 2 times so far. We have one more meeting coming up next month, and we spent time looking at those infrastructures and kind of structures in general that will provide student success. And that was directly from Dr. Luis Cruz's work. So we just kind of plugged and played what he had done. And we're really looking at, in our next meeting, how are we moving it from just kind of our own task force, because we don't want it just to stay with us. We want it to go to the buildings. And so really looking at mapping that out. What might instructional coaching, peer coaching look like with this professional learning with teams? And so we're going to spend time mapping out what's next. So we are a fun team. We are very dedicated. The 12 teachers and the 2 program associates are just a blessing for our families. They do so much more than just teach. Just all the things they're constantly doing is wonderful. happy to answer any questions you have as we continue to welcome cultural and linguistically diverse students to our district.
Can I ask you something about the first slide, this one?
Yes,
Looking at the bottom left horizontal bar graph,
yeah,
on October count day, we were at 416. Now, on March 2nd, we're 466, so we really grew 50 students.
yes.
Wow, wow,
Mhm.
that's great. Then above the blue box, we're on the right. Become English proficient in language skills of reading, writing, speaking, and listening, like at their grade level, which is fantastic if they can keep up, but I just want to thank you. I mean, reading and speaking is obvious, but the fact that writing and listening are on there, that's wonderful.
Yes,
That's-
yes, we want both the receptive and productive
Yeah.
language to be occurring.
So I just want to say thank you for doing that.
Have you had any difficulties covering, like I know for interpretation for like the Swahili and the Arabic, has that been challenging to accommodate those students?
We contract with like 3 agencies within the community to get interpreters when we need to. And then along with the devices, we're able to do what we can. There's certainly always a need. It's never perfect and we can't just one size fits all, but our teachers really take time to look at how can we use technology to add in scaffolds to be able to make those connections for students. And then beyond that, not just our ESOL teachers, but working with classroom teachers to build their capacity as well.
Okay. I knew from, just experience with trying to find interpreters, working with government programs that, Spanish, but I saw that when I seen the Swahili, especially the Arabic and the Vietnamese, like even for what we need to do, it's very challenging. So, I was wondering how that, but it's interesting that you incorporated the technology in there. I know I use Google Translate a lot, but yeah, so that's, just impressive that you're finding a way to work with those.
The one that was difficult to find.
Yes,
Dari.
Dari speaking interpreter. So if anybody knows any, we have one agency that has one
Yeah,
speaking interpreter, and parent teacher conferences are coming up. So we gotta get them all lined up.
Do you use, for like the parent teacher conferences and interacting with their families? Do you use, like a language line, or how are you able to communicate, with the students' families if there are issues, or letting them know what's going on and keeping them involved with their language development?
So parent teacher conference time, we try to do in person as much as we can. There are times where either just times overlap and there's only so many speakers. So we do have Transperfect, which is similar to Language Line. So the call-in phone system that we use. And then we also have that open to school counselors, school nurses, secretaries, admin assistants to use during the day if they need to check on attendance, if someone gets hurt at the playground, to be able to, or parent just stops in. That way we're able to meet with the parents and communicate, because we don't want to have a barrier. We want to welcome them. And so, but we try to do in person as much as we can.
Thank you.
So I really like how you said in here that they're developing pride in being bilingual. I remember in the past, speakers of languages other than English wouldn't speak that language and they lost that culture. So I like that you are bringing pride in that and bringing it to everybody to take part in that culture.
Absolutely. And then students who are identified as English learners are also eligible to do the Seal of Biliteracy once they show they're proficient in English, because the Seal of Biliteracy is English and another language. So it doesn't just have to be Spanish or French that they teach at the high school. It could be any language.
That's awesome.
I have a couple questions. The first one, out of like curiosity, when we have, you list our emerging and progressing, do you tend to see more of the emerging in the younger grades, or is it really spread throughout?
It really is spread throughout. A lot of it just depends on when they enter the US schools for the first time to where they're at. It seems like recently there's been a lot at the secondary buildings that have joined us that are still really working on those foundational literacy skills. So they do show up as emerging, but the more time we have, obviously we're able to make growth, but typically it takes 3 to 5 years for students to become proficient. It's going to vary by student, obviously, and by researcher of who you look at too. But it's a mix of all grade levels have students who are emerging and students who are progressing.
That's super interesting. My second is, well, kind of a comment. I'm impressed by the technology that's available now that we've been able to get. I mean, what a fantastic thing that we have that the grants now that to help with those needs and empower the parents a little more, not so dependent on another person, that they have access. I was wondering if you know of any development, like, have you heard anything about like AI type of tools? Like, is that the next thing on the horizon, or do you know, has AI come into any of this?
Well, Google Translate uses
It's
AI
AI.
as their kind of background. There's definitely more work that's, I mean, it's continuing to evolve.
Mhm.
My pause is depending on the language, even with Google Translate,
Sure.
you have accuracy problems sometimes. It depends on how much that language model within AI is already built up. So if it's Spanish, for example, that's going to be more accurate compared to Thai, Vietnamese, any of those where there's not as much kind of already built in. But definitely looking at how we can leverage it, and not only for families, but there's resources where you can take an entire PDF and use AI to make a podcast like things, just so it'll quickly get to it. Because a lot of times students, even if they're in the silent phase, listening, they're able to make connections. And so taking that big PDF or story and making it into a podcast through AI is less intimidating for them. So we're using it, but there's always more to explore and do.
It's been a topic that has come up in, you know, some of the training opportunities and articles and stuff that, you know, we just, it's gonna, I feel like we're on the precipice of a huge explosion, so. Thanks. Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Stephanie. Okay, and item D, literacy adoption update.
All right. Well, good evening, board. I wanted to share with you the work that's currently going on. As a matter of fact, that's where I was tonight. It was a little bit late with the literacy adoption for grades 3 through 5. And I'm going to give you a little background here. We're on a timeline that's not typical for the work that we usually do in adoptions. So we adopted Pearson ReadyGen in 2018. And we were going to look at the new cycle starting next year. But 2 years ago, Pearson was purchased by Savas, and Savas decided not to continue with ReadyGen. And so we stockpiled as many materials as we could. But I was hoping we could get through this year and next year. But what we found out right around Christmas time is with our growing population and the limited number of materials, we weren't able to get materials for all students. So typically we will start an adoption in September and October. We started this one in December. So we're looking to fast track it a bit, just because we think we're going to run out of materials and we want all students to have what they need. So we are considering materials 1 year earlier than we had planned. So if you look under the what line, that is the adoption process as it's outlined. Some of these ideas are outlined in our board policy as well. How we contact publishers, we convene a review team, and that has teachers on it, principals, learning support, special education, English learner teachers, et cetera, on that committee. And you can see those folks over on the right-hand side of the paper. For the first round, we reviewed materials from 6 companies, and the team worked on a rubric to determine what they were looking for. And the state has a rubric as well. So we screened the materials and we came to consensus on the top 2. So the top 2, and I can share those, would be Amplify and Savas. And we will begin when we come back after spring break. We have teachers who will be piloting these materials. So they will engage in the pilot And we will continue to collect information and do some consensus building. Our goal is to share this process with the district advisory team when we meet in April. And then based on their feedback, we will present a recommendation to you at the school board in May. So again, you can see the timeline over there, but since this is something I would usually share with you in the fall, I wanted to give you a little update on how we have modified and adjusted the process.
Is the Savas pretty similar to Ready Gen since they purchased Pearson, or is it a completely different?
It's different. Yeah. Ready Gen was all text-based. And I would say what we're looking at, because that's what I was looking at tonight, is called My View, is a more traditional literacy program. We loved the text-based nature of Ready Gen. I think we're finding out what a lot of publishers, print materials are harder to find than they used to be. You know, when we want to order 100 copies of To Kill a Mockingbird for 9th grade ELA, it's a little harder to get than it used to be. So I think Savas was having trouble getting those materials, and so they chose to discontinue. So this looks like a more traditional reading program that you might see, where it's got a student would have a basal or a book rather than individual text. And the other one that we're looking at is somewhat traditional. It seems to be more knowledge-based in terms of really aligning with science and social studies. So we've got two pretty unique and different looks for teachers to consider and pilot. And we're looking forward to getting their feedback and seeing what their recommendations are.
So that pilot's starting now?
It will start right when they come back from spring break.
Okay.
So we met this week, Monday, and then again today with the two companies that we're piloting, and they're setting the teachers up with what they need electronically and materials. Next week is conference week, so we didn't want to put that extra on their plate. So we'll start as soon as they come back.
Moving fast though.
It's going to be a 3-week pilot, which it's usually a 6-week pilot, but we're all feeling pretty good about it. If a building pilots one at 3rd grade, then they will pilot the other one at a different grade level. So every building that pilots will have experience with both programs. What we get is that you pilot one program and that's the one you love. But this way we'll get both programs in one building and we'll get some good feedback.
It's very exciting.
Very exciting. Yes. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, thank you, Brett and Rick. We're motioning to adjourn. Karen?
We don't.
Whitney.
Oh, we don't. Oh, sorry. We are adjourned.